Hello, everybody. It's me, Ethan McKinley, presenter of the 2-Minute Terminator, producer of the show. Across the airwaves, across the Zencaster spaces.
Ellie Fitzgerald.
And who are you, Ellie?
I am the small boy co-host that does the 2-Minute Terminator show with the fine actor Ethan McKinley.
You boy, the one who's stuttering and saying, who, me? Yes. I want you to go across town to Mr. Beswick's and get the biggest turkey you can find.
What as big as me?
Even bigger if you could, boy. And if you get back in 5 or 10 minutes, I'll give you an entire shilling.
And an old-fashioned.
Or whatever. What's that? A reach around. Anyway, hi, I'm Ethan McKinley. Welcome to the 2-Minute Terminator, where we break down the Terminator films 2 minutes at a time. Yes, this was, of course, meant to be part of our All-Star Week. I did promise it may be patchy, and it is. Steele Saunders sadly couldn't do the show today, so we're pressing on with yours truly and hers lyingly. Is that right?
Ethan.
Yes.
Hit the music.
Yeah, I think this guy's a couple cans short of a six-pack.
Howdy, stranger.
Don't say howdy, stranger, to me.
Load up.
You didn't do the fourth.
Thank God. It sucked.
Yes, we are back, everyone. We do break the Terminator films down 2 minutes at a time. I am Ethan McKinley. Ellie Fitzgerald is Ellie Fitzgerald. And we are going from minutes 2 to 4. It's episode 2. Ellie, how are you?
I'm very well. A little disappointed. I'm excited about speaking to our dear friend, Mr. Steele, but
He
unfortunately...
left a hole in our lives and our podcast.
And in our hearts!
Now we have to talk to each other.
But
I don't know what to do.
The show must go on, but what we'll do is we'll record it at a later time and release that as like a bonus episode or something. We'll work it out.
Well, I think just to make it safe for everyone, we'll do All-Star People once a week, hopefully.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just not feasible.
So,
Right, basically the clip... Huh?
what are the bookends, babe?
The clip starts with, once again, Apocalypse Barbecue. Some lovely multicultural, idealized, Black Lives Matter in this universe. We haven't made it work in our own, but in the Terminator Genesis universe, everyone's worked it out. There are Asians,
Two
Mexicans,
parents to every
Indian
child.
people. There are two men clinking glasses. They could be gay. Who knows? Maybe they've adopted, and they're going to give their son the choice.
Yeah, it's actually a woman.
Give their son the choice to choose. So it starts with these lovely people whose lives we should be emulating in our own universe, but we don't. And then it ends, of course, with a pair of beady eyes looming out of the dark. Could it be a Terminator? We don't know. You'll find out in tomorrow's episode with the Back to the Future guys, who did show up for the show. Ellie. If you have just joined us...
Scorned. First...
Before you start, Ellie, I'm gonna set this up for the future because hopefully we've still retained these new listeners. I'm just going to ring his name up for us right now. We've got a couple of new listeners who actually followed the Facebook page, which is a rare bird in our universe. Wade Palmer, hello Wade.
Hi Wade.
When you first messaged us, you were on episode 39 of season 1 of the Terminator series that we were going through, and Jeff Hara. So welcome aboard, gentlemen. If you have listened this far, well done. I hope you're enjoying our new high-tech show, which sounds more like a professional radio show versus the 3-ring Disney circus.
Episode 39. They've stuck with it. Holy shit.
It's a good show. I think... not many people know about it, but I think we're getting better and better. We're getting like more and more people every day, and I think it's good. We've got page followers. People are liking the artwork.
That's a consequence to doing the minute shows.
I'd imagine so, yeah. Because I think, like I do, sometimes if I join a podcast late, like I did with Hollywood Babylon or Star Wars Minute, you kind of binge and you just go through as many as you can per day. If he's doing a job that perhaps permits him to just be on his own and bored a lot, you can just listen to loads of podcasts. I've certainly done that in my past and life. So yeah, Wade,
I
welcome aboard, and Jeff Harrow, welcome aboard. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to episode 2 of season 5 of 2 Minute
When
Terminator.
are we going
Glad
to
you
get
made
some
it, baby.
avid female listeners? Where are you, ladies? Come on.
Well,
I can't be the only chick that likes Terminator.
as an evolutionary biologist would tell you, the feminists would have you think that women are conditioned to be the way they are by men, and they're just as strong, just as athletic, interested in G.I. Joe versus Barbie, and apparently science thinks this simply isn't true. Now, you could argue that it's the evil, scientific, all-male dominated patriarchy which purports this theory, but
Get you.
whenever they put children in a situation, in a room full of toys, in a study situation through the double window, the two-way mirror, the boys generally gravitate towards the actiony type monsters and things, and the girls gravitate towards, weirdly, the homely stuff, the kitchen stuff, the babies, the dolls and things, the mothery things. Because if we weren't, I think, conditioned according to science, we wouldn't exist as a race.
I completely agree, Ethan. Thank you so much for hitting on that. If you want to join us next week for
Feminist cringe.
philosophical feminist cringe, then you're going to be gutted because it doesn't exist. My first note on this particular 2 minutes is, I wonder what Essay had to do in his audition to get that part. You know,
Joe Courtney?
No, Essay, the kind of Hispanic-looking.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, as I've been to many auditions myself, I will tell you.
What would he have had to have done to get that part? To just kind of turn around and just look a bit like, now go, startled, hit me.
Well, if anyone's seen Captain America: The First Avenger, the Marvel film from 2011 with Chris Evans, not the English ginger radio presenter, who's just, I think, had the bad ratings with the reinvigorated, not Jeremy Clarkson, Top Gear series.
Yeah.
My friend Marek is actually in Captain America 1. He plays Jan, and he is at the start of the film when they're about to get the Tesseract. Hugo Weaving breaks into this church, and there's David, I think it's David Snedden, the guy from Harry Potter. It's him and his like assistant, and they're protecting this ancient, it's a cube really, but it's one of the Infinity Stones. I think it's, what is it, the Mind Gem? I think it's one of them. No, the Mind Gem is in, God, Paul Bettany's head, isn't it? That's the yellow one. Whatever, one of the gems. Anyway.
Oh, he's
They're protecting that blue cube, basically, which he eventually gets. But Jan is killed really quickly. He's essentially a featured extra with a couple of lines, so he had a bit more to do than this guy. But Essay, in this, I know Marek's audition, he had to kind of pretend they were being attacked by the Nazis. He was in a room for like 15 minutes, just winging it and improvising. Apparently, I guess he convinced them because they gave him the part. But this guy, I imagine, you could say he's a featured extra. He is an extra, but they'd probably cast a proper actor for this. And like you said, rightfully so, like go through like a massive audition process. And they'd be like, yeah, okay, you're with your family at the barbecue. Oh, there's little Jimmy boy running around by your feet. Give him a burger. They probably set up a table, and he was there just like flipping burgers for ages. And they were like, and then you hear a noise, and then he turns around, and there's a white light. And I bet you 9 out of 10, 11 out of 10 that he had to act out a nuclear attack. I bet he like went, oh God, get the kids, and he had to get under the table, duck and cover and all that.
William Shatner.
Yeah. Next. There is a
It must be
nuclear blast.
thing, like being like going for an audition as an extra. I can't imagine. It's like when I see kids programs. Not that happens very often. I don't really hang around with children, but when you see kids programs and there's like some 30-odd-year-old dude and he's sat on a cushion that looks like an alien and he's talking to hand puppets and doing like a really silly voice and singing really lame songs, you just think, that's someone's dad or that's someone's mate or someone's brother. I mean,
Oh, like a children's TV presenter?
yeah, like that must be the most demeaning job in the world. But that
Well, I don't know if anything to go by our own English TV presenters and stars and celebrities from a certain time in the 70s, which anyone who's not aware, there were a lot of people, famous people, caught as part of this elite paedophile ring in England. You can Google it. It's is it Elephant Square?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Elephant Square. Jimmy Savile, of course. If you Google him, Jimmy Savile documentary, you can find documentaries on the that one of the most prolific fixers of all these this elite paedophile ring in America, of course, it was called the.
He seems to be more like the in-between man. He was the one that was kind of delivering the boys to these parties.
Yeah, because he had connections to charity. Well, apparently, people that work in charities and with children's services are all like usually, often caught being interested in children more ways than one.
He did worked in a children's home, and he said that all the people that worked there. They were either weird or they hated children, and they treated the children so badly.
Very strange.
Yeah, very, very.
But anyway, we see in this clip, it's the nuclear bomb going off. Now,
San Francisco, by the way.
It is. That's the Golden Gate Bridge.
I recognised it because of the long street.
Well, there are a few subtle hints in this beginning scene, Ellie, that indicate the prologue already takes place in a different timeline, i.e. basically it's not the exact same future of the Terminator purported, or Terminator 2. Kyle Reese is saved by John Connor from the Terminator in a sewer in this movie, Genesis, whereas in Terminator 1984, it states that John freed him. This is Michael Bihn's dialogue, that Kyle Reese, he's saved by John Connor. He frees him from a factory when he's enslaved by Skynet. Also, Kyle still has a photograph of Sarah Connor before he is about to time travel. In the Terminator, it is established that photo had been burned long before he did that.
Nasty.
Although, to give the people the due in this picture, even though it's not Linda Hamilton in the Polaroid, it's Amelia Clark, the photograph is quite badly burned. But we do see it literally go up in flames in the first Terminator. So again, this is probably well, we said this.
What stage did Kyle put it in his ass?
I've actually gone back on myself thinking about that. I thought that very thing last night because I only brought it up on the show.
Yeah.
And then I thought, does he have that photograph of her in the past?
I don't know.
I don't think he does. We did an entire show on it. I don't think he does.
No, he doesn't.
Ethan, what are you talking about? It's probably episode 39 as well.
Yeah. Shit. Ethan, they're going to start listening back.
Sorry, Wade. Ignore that episode.
Yeah, no, I don't think he did.
All right. Well, this is not only grammatically incorrect, it's factually incorrect. Sorry, everyone. But that's why you listen.
I'm just trying to harken back to the old films. They're trying to grasp onto something that was once great.
By the way, just to go back... Yesy, because it was just kind of on the overlap of the scene. The little boy who looks out of the plane window as Skynet launches the rockets is playing a Nintendo Gameboy handheld console.
Is that not right?
It seems very far in the past to have for when the rockets launch.
Yeah, I know, but I still know some kids that have like an Atari.
Really? Who?
My friend Yannick, he's a massive geek. He's got...
How old is he?
27.
Okay. We're talking like a 6-year-old black child here. Not that his colour should be a matter. I just thought I'd add that in.
You just can't help yourself. Talking of black things, I thought it was a nice little clue when Terminator Salvation comes up and then it like dissolves and blows away. It's a
bit like the nuclear, the blast wave is like blown away.
I was thinking that's exactly. This is a massive spoiler alert, but I'm sure you've all seen the film. But I'm going to say it anyway. It's like when John Connor later on kind of dissolves because he's that new age like Terminator.
New age? You mean nanotechnology, like every little part's a machine?
New age.
Yeah.
Technical jargon.
It's all like nanobots.
Yeah. Well, that's I quite liked that it was like a little clue in the title of what was going to happen later.
Yeah, because you see the title, and then when John Connor actually finally comes into the studio, you go, "Oh, the title!" Was it you or me that said that in the cinema? I leapt out of my seat, or was it you? We went, "Oh my god, the title! Did you see the subtle?" No.
Everyone did.
We've obviously got a homage again to Terminator 2, when they show kind of the hobby horse and the children's playground all destroyed and covered with ash. Very much like the vampires in Interview with the Vampire, when they kind of look ashy and you touch them and they fall apart. A bit like my mother.
She's a bit more squishy. Why do you think they always use that kind of childhood imagery?
I mean, it's a homage or a homage, sir, as Ben Affleck says in Pearl Harbor. An homage, sir.
Do you think it's the way we can have any empathy for human beings? Because like,
Well, they're trying to link it visually to
when you
the.
look at kids, you're like, oh.
They're trying to link it visually to the original Terminator films, I guess, to replicate that look. Even though they've done their own hunter killers again, which look kind of like not as threatening as those sharp, spiky metal ones from the first and second Terminators.
Yeah,
They're kind of like
the HKs look really rubbish.
they've smoothed them out again. They look more like elegant
They look
looking,
like
and
catfish.
yeah,
Like
they
massive
look like
flying catfish.
yeah. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Interestingly, as well, I didn't cover it because I didn't use the freeze frame for the show, but. They mention, actually, in tomorrow's episode with Back to the Future, pre-recorded, they ask if it's the T-800 Terminator that comes upon John Connor in this...
Dude, seriously, the way you structure these sentences. Every time.
Basically, there's a Terminator in the next scene, everyone, which will be in tomorrow's episode. We kind of touch on it, and I think Nick asked, or Scott asked, the Back to the Future Minute Boys, who did turn up for All-Star Week, because...
Not so.
Because apparently steel is not the most precious metal. They ask if the Terminator that comes upon him in the corridor is a T-800. I assumed it was, but when I did the freeze frame for the show note, which will be in the actual tomorrow show, if you go to the YouTube channel of this show, we actually talk over the show, Mystery Science Theater 3K style, with the clip playing, so you can watch it as we talk about it. The man is not a T-800, or certainly not Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's just a bald-looking guy. He looks he looks a bit like Ian White, who played the Predator in AVP 1 and 2. And he also plays the engineer in Prometheus. He's a tall, like, lanky dude. He's like 6'6", but he plays all the monsters now. And he's like an ex-basketball player. He's white as well. So, my hat's off to you, sir. You flourished in a world where black people are usually who are better athletically than white people. So well done, Ian White. He looks a lot like Arnold Vosloo as well, the guy that played the Mummy in the Mummy 1 and 2. But there's a blatant picture of him. In fact, I'll send it to you now, Ellie. He looks nothing like Arnold, so I'm not sure if there's like... I suppose there'd have to be. It doesn't seem practical from a manufacturing standpoint that you'd have like multiple kind of like looks of Terminators, but I guess you've got multiple looks of cars, so why not? This guy is just some regular looking dude, and I've sent the picture to Ellie on Viber, which you can probably see right now.
Let's have a look.
I'm sure this has bounced me out of the internet and it's just cocked up the the connection.
Is it actually?
No, it's fine, it's still rolling.
Oh, thank God.
But yeah, if you click that picture, Ellie, you can quite blatantly see it's not Arnold.
No, it's not.
So the Terminator in the next clip coming up, which we didn't cover because I couldn't...
Crystal Maze.
Yeah, Richard O'Brien, kind of Ian White, Arnold Vosloo. Yeah.
All those put on weight.
Yeah. I mean, it's a split second. I literally freeze frame that when the like the strobing of the gun goes off and he's hit and the sparks and stuff. It's so maybe there are T-800s, but there's different kind of like skins they put on them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's meant to be rubber, isn't it?
Well, that's T-600. Your favorite, the only thing you liked really about the last Terminator film.
That's true. That is true.
That is true.
When the camera pans across like the city, when Jai's talking about how the world wasn't like that when he was young, and then it shows like the desolation of I guess San Francisco, and you see the bridge and it's all been ripped into the sea, into the ocean. Looking at that, and then when it pans across the city skyline, that really made me think of Pacific Rim. I really imagined like monsters could have come out of the water.
With the destroyed bridge and the sun kind of going down, or the sun, it's probably daytime and it's probably trying to see through just like the nuclear cloud, really.
Yeah, it made me think of Pacific Rim.
I was going to think, when we pan down to the barbecue, there is a guy we're like 1 or 2 seconds into the clip before the Mexican SA Apocalypse man turns around with a tattoo on his arm. There's a guy to the right of the screen, the one who I accused of being the gay couple by the barbecue, clinking glasses. The guy facing us with the mullet or the hockey hair, he looks a lot like Josh McDermott, who looks exactly like that in the Walking Dead show. He's got like a mullet and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought for a second it might be Josh McDermott, but it's actually not him. So I just take a bow and move on.
Basically, you're wrong, and shut up. The barcode that we see the Terminator scanning on that kid's arm, would Terminators have used something so human as a barcode? I
don't know. And, well, more to the fact, you wouldn't have it scan like that. A barcode works by like looking at the entire code in one go and like.
As opposed to going up and down it.
Yeah, I mean it looks cool, but that's not really how barcodes work.
I do love the pink lights though. Whenever you see the Terminators in the beginning of the film, all those pink lasers, that looks so cool. It's so 80s.
Well, I think that's the most successful part of the film. The first, apart from Jai Courtney and Jason Lewis, make of him what you will. They got the kind of look. They look a bit more well financed, probably, than the ones seen in the first Terminator, the 1984 original with Michael Biehn running through the wasteland. They looked a bit more ragtag and looked like they were hanging on more. These guys look a bit more well financed and they got their shit together.
Yeah.
Their armor's very like nice and pretty, and it's just like, how did all the Resistance have all these outfits? Is it military? I don't know, but they're all kind of dressed uniformly in a uniform. I don't know.
Uniformly in a uniform. Could you get another uniform in?
And also, well, we discussed this, but the dog reminds me of The Thing. I always wait for it, because I think it's Alsatians. An Alsatian and a Husky dog. I'd never owned that kind of dog because of The Thing.
Really?
Yeah. Every time the dog would stay in the doorway looking at you, you'd be like, oh.
Yeah, but Ethan, you're evil. And
Get the bug spray.
Dogs can sense evil. Oh, because we then see Kyle as a young child. A question I had about that: why is he?
Ethan, why have you killed the family dog and burned it in the garden? I thought it was going to be The Thing.
the thing. We see Kyle and he's running around from wreckage to wreckage, trying to find shelter.
Wreckage Ralph.
Wreckage Ralph, yeah. Why is he on his own? I would have thought that he would be in like a camp. Why would he be like? And also, what happened to Kyle's parents? That's something that's never mentioned.
It's out of continuity. Like I said, in the original Terminator films 1 and 2, the story is that Kyle is rescued from a factory or a labour camp by John Connor.
Yeah.
So technically, you could argue that that's the original timeline in Terminator Salvation, because the first time Christian Bale, John Connor, you are the Resistance, listening. When he meets Anton Yelchin, the John Connor, the actor that played Carl Reese in that, Jesus Christ. He actually, when they find each other, he is in the factory in the work camp. He's in the work camp initially, and then he gets into the factory, and that's where they meet at the end, don't they?
Yeah. So
that technically is a true sequel to the original Terminator. With this, he's just like scratching around in the wasteland, and he gets found or rescued by John Connor in the sewer. So this is, I guess, a different timeline, or it's a reboot. It's meant to be the first of a trilogy.
No.
Although I guess that's not going to happen now. But Paramount has to pull their socks out. Paramount and Skydance, like we said, James Cameron gets the rights back to the Terminator franchise in 2019 unless someone makes another movie. So who knows?
Do you reckon James Cameron would ever make another Terminator film?
I don't think so. I think he's
ready
said all he needs to say.
Yeah.
Technology's moved on. He's too wrapped up in Avatar now, which is amazing. So yeah, no, I think that's.
Do you have any cock-ups to this episode, Ethan?
Oh, Ellie, do I ever?
You don't, do you?
I do.
Cock up.
Bing. In Terminator Salvation, John Connor meets Carl during his teen years. Now, the scar on his face occurred afterwards by a Terminator. In this film, that's why it might be an alternate timeline. So I'm apologising for the film in advance. This one opens up with a younger Kyle, about 7 or 8 years old, and he already has the scar when they meet.
Oh, missed a trick there.
Yeah.
Up. Bing, bing.
So the John Connor in this already has basically the scar he shouldn't have already, basically. So it's not a sequel to basically Terminator Salvation. Where...
I'm saying basically, Ethan.
Sorry. Either they cocked it up or it's one of a million alternate realities due to the time travelling. In the original Terminator, Ellie, the first Terminator arrives in 1984 next to a garbage truck. The ground beneath its feet is undisturbed. I mean, everyone knows this. This isn't really a cock-up, and it's obviously not from the same... Traditionally, we're going for it again. I've got a cock-up in the wrong place. When the Terminator arrives in this film, he's standing in a kind of like a white hot crater, which has been created by the matter destruction sphere that appears around the Terminator, so it doesn't like appear in the middle of a war. Like we mentioned, remember when I talked about the Philadelphia experiment?
Yeah.
When they tried to make not only radar invisible vehicles and ships, they wanted like actual invisibility.
Yeah.
And they phase shifted the ship out of existence for a split second, but when it came back, a bit like if Zencaster fails and then there's a gap in the time, I have to try and figure out where you are. All the sailors and soldiers that came back on the deck of the ship were through the walls and like stuck through the ship and stuff. They'd phased out of existence. The ship had moved, or they had moved, and it had come back. So as the ship disappeared, some of them went through the time portal and some stayed here. But the ones that stayed here, obviously, because they weren't standing on anything anymore, started to fall and drop.
Yeah.
So they fell through where the ship would have been. When it came back a split second later, the ship appeared around them, and they were obviously like fused into the walls and things. You should look into the Philadelphia experiment. It's interesting. It's probably horseshit, but
Bullshit or not.
it's an interesting conspiracy theory.
I do love a conspiracy theory, so I'll have to check that out.
Yes, you do, don't you? You Mr. Conspiracy.
But are they conspiracy theories though, or are they just the truth? I don't know.
There's the truth and the truth.
They're all the notes I have, Ethan, so unless you've got anything more to add.
I don't think I do. No, I do not. Well, anyway, thank you for listening, everyone. I do apologise. Steele Sauders, the stand-up comedian extraordinaire, was meant to be doing today. We'll try and find another slot for him to come in. I think we've got Clueless Minute next weekend. And then it'll just be me and Ellie walking you through the Terminator universe. So the all-star cast you got today was, in fact, just me and Ellie. But tomorrow...
That is an all-star cast, though.
It is. We are the stars. And I think if you have listened this long, thank you. If you want to follow the show, you can go on the 2-Minute Terminator page. If you've never been there, actually, there is literally hours and hours of still images, rare pictures, production design, drawings from all the Terminator films, all through from the stuntmen that like played Arnold in all of the films and stuff, like Linda Hamilton's twin sister. There's lots of albums and things for you to plow through. So please like that page. Follow us on Twitter at 2-Minute Terminator. There's all kinds of crazy stuff I post on there from other film franchises, not only Terminator. So there's lots of memes and rare stuff. And you can follow us on YouTube. You can actually watch the clip as we talk about it, Mystery Science Theater 3K style. We'll, of course, return tomorrow, which is Wednesday, with, who is it? Scott and Nick from Back to the Future Minute. Thursday, we've got Airport Minute Jim. And Friday, we've got the Ghostbusters boys. So it's an all-star week of sorts. We've got 3 in a row. That's more than anyone else for. Thank you all for listening. Please follow us. Please support us. If you want to say anything offensive or rude or funny, please find us at the channels I just mentioned. If you have any ideas or questions, please send them in. Ellie.
Hasta la vista.
Baby.
Watch out for machines. They're unstoppable. Watch out for machines. They will rule the world. I'll be back.
decided all humanity was a threat to its existence. It used our own bombs against us. 3 billion people died in the nuclear fire. Survivors called it Judgment Day. People lived like rats in the shadows, hiding, starving, or worse, captured and put into camps for extermination. I was born after Judgment Day, into a broken world, ruled by the machines. The worst were infiltration units designed to pass for human. We called them Terminators.